तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. One more invocation is associated with this Upanishad. Usually our closing prayer. So not to get confused, the class is just beginning. No such luck. But since it's the first day today, we have to chant that one also. Om Purnamadav Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Hari Om. Yeah. This is a very important Upanishad. It is not one of the 10 for which Adi Shankara has written a commentary. He wrote commentaries for 10 Upanishads, and because of which reason the later writers started to say 10 primary Upanishads and the others what? Secondary? Tertiary? No good Upanishads? All of them are primary. Why? Because they take care of the primal ignorance. That's why they are primary. They take care of the ignorance centered on the I. That is why they are primary. You know, we cannot say one is primary, one is secondary. This is just the academic thinking. And we know what happens when we follow academia. Right? Yeah. What happens? Yeah. You lose your mind, really. This is not academics. Yeah, this is not how many times, because somebody did one research and they gave me that paper also. How many times the word Tvam comes in the Upanishad? Tvam means you. Who cares? You know, it's all about you anyway. It's about you from the beginning to the end. How many times it occurs? How many times it has come? This is for the person who is interested in something other than what the study has to offer. You know, the Upanishad is like a finger. It points where you have to go. And the point of the pointing finger is to look at where it is pointed and get the marga, the path. What is there? What is it showing? What is it's indicating? It's pointing actually at you. So it's pointing to you, meaning, you know, oh, me, I have to look at myself. That is what it is pointing. But instead, the academic approach, what it does, it starts to measure the finger. It catches hold of the finger. It says, okay, is there a hangnail? Yeah, what is the proportion of the nail to the rest of the finger? And why the finger is like this? Is it a little bit bent? Or is it my own imagination? Can the bent finger really direct this? Is what? This is not the student of the Upanishad. That is not the job of the student of the Upanishad. Because there is something here, it is making you see. Am I equipped to see it? Am I ready to embrace the glory that it is indicating? And that glory is nothing other than revealed as my own glory, as me. Am I ready to do that? And if I am ready to do that, then I have to first hear what it says. You know, we are not shy of questions. In fact, the Upanishad begins with a question. In fact, all Upanishads begin with a question. The Kena Upanishad is so named because it starts with the word Kena, by whom? Impelled by whom? Do the thoughts fall in the mind and the mind falls into certain places and ways of thinking? Some ways of thinking we are not proud of, but that's for another discussion. So the whole attitude towards the learning is already there, that is a prerequisite. The attitude itself is a prerequisite to learning any Upanishad. It's a prerequisite, meaning I equip myself with that attitude before I open the page. And it's an attitude of surrender, which is what we did by putting this on the altar, and doing an arati. It's an attitude of letting go. It's an attitude of allowing things to be. It's an attitude of letting the Upanishad do its talking. Let it see what it has to say. Let me be in a position of grace to see what it has to say without interrupting it constantly. Questions are different. Interruption means an interruption that is made, from an angle of trying to find fault with it. That's the kind of interruption I'm talking of. So without interrupting, without getting distracted, because there are so many noises. What is that noise? What is that? Why this? Why that? Who is coming? Who is going? And we have some people who, as soon as I enter in other places, not here, as soon as I enter the class, they start counting the people. Yeah, how many people came? And they informed me, oh, do you know there were 100 people today? How do you know? I counted. It becomes a distraction. And so without getting into the place of kind of, there are three things to avoid, and I'm going to, talk about it. The first one is what? The counting was the second one. What was the first one? What is the first thing to avoid? Interruption. No, that's the distraction. First one, interruption. An interruption coming out actually, and it's an argumentative interruption. You say this, but I say this. And that is not what we call samvada. What is samvada? A respectful dialogue between the teacher and the taught. The Upanishad is the teacher. Okay? Yeah. I'm just the interpreter, really. What I have received is how to interpret this. This is your real teacher. She is the teacher, she speaks. I'm just a translator. That's all I am. I just sort of tell you how she has been translated and how she has been interpreted for a number of, centuries. Starting with Adi Dakshinamurti, this is the lineage, this is the parampara. So she is your real teacher. And so what kind of an attitude do you have towards something that is going to teach you how to overcome samsara? So what kind of an attitude should I have? What kind of an attitude should I avoid? This is the thing. So the first one is what? No argumentation, in the sense that doesn't mean you don't ask questions, but it is asked respectfully. That's why it is called samvada. This is the kind of a dialogue that was there between who? Krishna and Rama. No, Arjuna. That's why at the end of the Bhagavad Gita, each chapter it says, Krishna Arjuna Samvadayoho. In the Samvada, there are 4 kinds of conversations. One is called Samvada. Samvada means what? A special dialogue between the teacher and the student. Questions are allowed, clarification is allowed, I didn't understand is allowed, how to go further is allowed, I don't know what to do is allowed. But I don't agree with the Upanishad. That may be allowed, but then what is the use? Why are we here if we don't agree with the Upanishad? If you don't agree with what she has to say, then, you already have your life. There's no need to, sit here and disagree. You can sit at home and disagree. So then, that is the first thing to avoid. The second thing is to be mindful that the Upanishad speaks to the person. I'm quoting directly from the Kathopanishad. The Upanishad speaks to the person who chooses it or prioritizes it in his or her life. This is what it says. Yenaiva vrinute, the one who chooses this gets chosen by the Upanishad, so to speak. Very beautifully said. Tasyaisha atma vivrunute tanum swam. So the Upanishad shows her body, her whole self, to the one who chooses it, says the Kathopanishad. So choose it means what? Choose to not just be here physically, but also mentally, priority-wise. This is what the focus, ekagrata, chitta ekagrata, also known as samadhanam, one of the qualifications we have studied. So then that is the second thing. And the third thing to avoid or to keep at bay with all the methods that we have is dejection. Yeah. Oh, but Upanishad is saying you are the whole. How can I be dejected? What are you talking about? How can dejection set in? Trust me. Yeah, dejection, hopelessness, listlessness, lack of enthusiasm. Upanishad keeps talking something or the other. It doesn't really, it may apply to everybody else in Eugene, but it doesn't apply to me. Why? Because I was dropped from the sky. It doesn't speak to me anymore. That is the hopelessness. And this is the hopelessness that was a package deal with the moola avidya, the primal ignorance with which one is born as a jiva. This hopelessness and this disenchantment goes hand in hand. All the sociologists have talked about this disenchantment. In fact, Weber calls it disenchantment. And Durkheim also called it this, And Karl Marx also called it something. I forgot what he did. All the major sociologists have talked about this disenchantment, which seems to be the curse of the modern world. Somehow there is a disconnection between myself and the whole, and so what I am doing in my life, whether it is drinking a cup of tea, whether it is going to work, whether it is working in the garden, whether it is studying the Upanishad, I cannot connect the meaning of that to where I want to go. This is the disconnection, disenchantment. This is what the dejection. This is what I call dejection. This lack, and it shows up as lack of enthusiasm. It's not that the enthusiasm is lacking. Enthusiasm is there because that is your very nature, but it is overshadowed by this residue from the past. This is what has to be, let go of. So what are the three things that we talked about? We have to not have here or interruption, or argumentation / interruption, distraction, and dejection. ADD. See? I didn't plan it. Yeah. ADD. Yeah. This is what we are talking about. ADD for short. And instead we have to fill up the life. We have to start living life in 3D. What is that 3D? Devotion, and then discipline, and then duty. Yeah. So stop this ADD and live the life in full 3D. This is the message even before studying the Upanishad. I think we are doing very well. Yeah. So this is what, a few things we have to see. And this Upanishad, therefore, is not primary or secondary. All Upanishads are primary. It's just like somebody, another academic must have been, who said that there are only 4 Mahavakyas. Mahavakyas means where the jiva, the stranded individual, is equated to or identified with the cause of the universe, Ishvara. And a sentence that expresses that is called Mahavakya or great sentence. So somebody said there are only 4 Mahavakyas. How many Upanishads are there? Millions. And how many Mahavakyas should there be? Also innumerable numbers. But somehow they counted 4. One from each Veda they took. I suppose they just did that for fun in the beginning, like, okay, let us just count the 4 major ones. But then later on, the people who followed these people must not have been terribly bright, because they came to the conclusion that there are only 4 Mahavakyas. That's not true. Lots of Mahavakyas, lots of Upanishads, and each one reveals the same thing. The nature of the self is not what you think it is. That is all the basis of this Upanishad. There is also a big argument about why the person Adi Shankara, who wrote commentaries about 10 Upanishads, did not write a commentary for this one. In fact, there is one Shankara Bhashya, but it was some other Shankaracharya. It is very evident from the style and how they have presented it. It lacks the crispness of Adi Shankara's words. So therefore, we have, most of the people have their own doubts about whether it was really Adi Shankara's work. It must have been some Shankaracharya or another. So then we have the the question, why did not Adi Shankara write a commentary for this one? The answer will become very clear as we study this, because this is in fact such a primary Upanishad that each of the words, each of the mantras are used in other Upanishads. The famous Natatra Suryo Bhati na Chandra Tarakam, you might find it here. Certain mantras from the Shri Rudram, you will find it here. Certain things from Bhagavad Gita, you will find it here. Oh, so Svetashvatara sage had read Bhagavad Gita? Huh? Yes? Yes? No? Which came first? Upanishad. Primary. Yeah? Gita, secondary work. So the Gita has lifted verses, Vyasa has lifted verses verbatim from this Upanishad in the Bhagavad Gita. That is its importance. It is the most quoted Upanishad that you will ever find. No other Upanishad, even Mundaka, which is also quoted a lot, comes second to this one. It is quoted everywhere. It is extremely famous. And then it's poetic, that there is a certain lilt to it. It's very clear that the person who was channeling this was definitely in a deep state of, communion with Bhagavan, and the knowledge has come, very beautiful verses. And it's also one of the few Upanishads which talks about Maya. Yeah. Usually Maya is inferred or just talked about a little bit, and then we rely on things like the Viveka Chudamani and other things to tell us more about Maya. It's just little bit, alluded to. Some Upanishads will call Maya Asat, and some of them will call it, Maya. In fact, the overt references to Maya are, that we really know of in the Upanishads are 2. One is in the Brihadaranyaka Upanishad, Indro Mayabhihi Pururupam Eti, means Indra, which is Bhagavan here, becomes many. Pururupam means many forms with Maya. Mayabhihi means through many Maya Shaktis, through this power. And here it even more blatantly says, Mayantu Prakritim Vidyat Mayinam tu Maheshwaram. It makes a distinction, very clear-cut distinction, and again an oft-quoted sentence, very important, between the shaper of the Maya and Maya herself. The two are complementary and the two cannot be separated. It says that, very beautiful. And so for these reasons, the Upanishad is very highly valued. And Adi Shankara wrote about everything, and this one was already covered in all the things that he wrote. Perhaps that's why he didn't see the reason to write a separate commentary for this, but we do have a commentary. And as I said, it is not the original Adi Shankara. It is a Xerox copy. It is one of the other Shankaracharyas. We do not know who, because we are talking of a society that does not have a high premium on intellectual property, because all intellect and intellection belongs to Bhagavan. There is only one source. So if you put your name on it or somebody puts their name on it, the source is already there. So therefore, it's very difficult sometimes to trace the authorship. Because we don't have that particular value. So this is the Upanishad belonging to the Taittiriya Shakha. Shakha means a branch. The same stock from where the Taittiriya Upanishad came, this Upanishad has also come. Even though it has a different name, it's the same Shakha or the same branch. And then the other thing about this is that it is called Svetashvatara because the last word one of the last words in the conclusion of the Upanishad is that this is the knowledge of Brahman received by the sage Svetashvatara. Ashva means horse, Shweta means white, but Svetashvatara means the one who has a white mule. Yeah. There is not some kind of a mystery about this name. Perhaps that sage had a white mule. That's all. So we don't have to think mule means what, white means what. Yeah, that's all it is. So the white muled one, the owner of the white mule, who is the sage here, who received this knowledge and has given it to the world. That is why it is called after that. This is very common to name the Upanishad either after the sage or after the first words of the Upanishad itself. Like Isha Upanishad or Isha Vasya Upanishad is so called because of what? Isha Vasyam Idam Sarvam, the first line. Kena Upanishad. Yeah, Mundaka Upanishad because of that particular head tonsering ritual which qualifies one to study the Upanishad. Yeah. You shave the head. Not content with that. Then you take some hot coals and put it on the head. And then what does that make you do? Run. And you run to the teacher after circumambulating the teacher 3 times. And you say, my head is on fire, literally. For this knowledge, please teach me. And then it also says at the end of the Mundaka Upanishad, Mundaka means this is what it is. So the ones who haven't done this ritual, don't give them the Upanishad, don't teach them. Says that. Yeah. So therefore what? So therefore this is, all the names come because of these particular things. We cannot say what is the significance and all that. The significance is that it is named after the very, exalted and illustrious sage who channeled this knowledge was revealed to this sage. That is why it is called Svetashvatara Upanishad. So the Upanishad always begins with a dialogue, because it's not a monologue. Why? Because why will it be a monologue? It will be a monologue for whom? For the one who knows, or for the one who doesn't know? For the one who doesn't know cannot have a monologue about Brahman because they don't know Brahman. Correct? And for the one who knows, why will they talk to themselves? They will not. So they will talk to others who want to know. So therefore always a dialogue. What kind of dialogue? Samvada. Not vada. Vada means, just like what you have with friends. Let's go to this restaurant and eat. No, I've already been there. Let's go to the other one. This is vada. And then we have two other kinds of not very savory forms of dialogue in the ancient Sanskrit, in the Shastra. One is called Jalpa. Jalpa means, whatever you say, I say something else. There was one song, you say potato, I say potato, like that. Whatever you say, I will say something else. Jalpa. It's like, ships passing in the night. There is no connection. You just say whatever you want, and I'll say whatever I want. It's like some of these interfaith dialogues that I go to, interfaith conferences. They all come and say whatever they want. Many times there is no learning or engagement taking place. Many times there is, but I'm talking of those times where it isn't. This is what is called Jalpa. In fact, when I went to the Vatican, I said this. I presented these 4 forms of dialogue, and I said, let us not have Jalpa. Let us at least have Vada. Forget Samvada. Let us have Vada. Did they listen? What do you think? So then the last one is even worse, That is what will lead to divorce and other things, I suppose. It is called Vitanda. Vitanda means whatever you said is wrong and whatever you say is wrong. Why? Because you are saying it. This is Vitanda. Means anything that you say is wrong, says A, because B said it and that is why it is wrong. And B will say the same thing of A. This is Vitanda. So in Samvada there is always a dialogue. And the dialogue is usually in the form of a question. Why a question? Like I said, if you're sitting with the teachings, if you're sitting with the teacher, then what is they will always be, the question won't be about the weather. That you can ask a meteorologist, right? Is it going to rain tomorrow? Yeah. So that you can ask anybody. But here, in front of the teacher of self-knowledge, the only question is, it should be a spiritual question, correct? So it will be a question about oneself, something that one cannot understand, something that one cannot fathom, one cannot make a, attempt to see what is going on here. This is the issue here. And so therefore what? It will always start with a dialogue about either the self, about oneself, where did I come from, how do thoughts take place, certain questions. And then, or it could be about what is this Jagat. Jagat means what? The whole universe. What is this universe? How does it tick? Or what is the third kind of question? Who is this Ishvara? There are 3 entry points into this teaching. Jiva, I, the individual. Who is this individual? Who am I? And the second one is, I don't care who I am. It's these people that surround me that is the problem. I want to know about them. I'm okay. It's these idiots that I'm surrounded by. They're cramping my style and not letting me enjoy life, because constantly they are talking at me and expecting me to do things that I don't want to do. I want to go and sit on a hilltop and then meditate. But what do? They keep pulling me down, And I go up and then come down. So this Jagat is what I want to see, what makes it tick. Why does it have such a strong effect? It's really all about oneself only. But the question is projected outward. And then finally, I don't care about Jiva, myself, the individual. I don't care about the universe. What is this that makes the trees fall, right? Like right now. What is it that the tree makes the tree change color? And how does one tree communicate to another tree on the other side of town? How come all the trees change color at the same time? This is what I want to know. What is that law that makes the trees shed? What is that law that makes the days shorter? What is that law that makes it harder to get up in the mornings as the nights become longer? That is what I want to know. What is that Ishvara? These are the 3 entry points. The 4th one may not be there. Or even if it is there, it can be subsumed under these 3. This is the 3 entry points to the teaching. So the dialogue will be on any of these 3 things. And here, in the beginning, we will see the dialogue is a mishmash of all those. Everything is included. But before we get into the text, a little bit, since it's Svetashvatara, we have seen. What is the next word? Upanishad, we have to see. And so we have to always, in Sanskrit, catch the verb in order to understand what it is all about. So the verb is shad. Shad means shed. Actually, it should be called Upanishad. Yeah. Because it makes one shed what? Wrong assumption. Yes, ignorance. And along with the ignorance comes wrong assumptions, fears, pains, sorrows. That which makes me shed samsara, like even the trees shedding their leaves, is Upanishad. Yeah. So shadlr is the root verb. Yeah. Lr, don't worry about that. Then it becomes shad. Shad has 3 meanings. One is avasadayati. Avasadayati means destroys. That which destroys. Many things can be destroyed, correct? Like weeds. You destroy with a weed killer. And then what happens? Ta-da! It's smiling at you after 3 days. You thought I was weed. I think I'm very beautiful. Look at me. Yeah. Weed is according to you, correct? Yeah. It's like that, what is that? There was one old show. Once I saw, somebody made me look at it. It was so nice. Adam Family. And so somebody, I think the husband buys some flowers and gives her. She says, oh, roses, And what will the ordinary jiva do when roses are given, You open the bouquet and then you cut the stems and then you fill up the vase of water and then you put it in the vase. What did she do? She cut off all the tops of all the little buds and blooms, and then the thorns she decorated in the vase. So what is a weed is, it's relative. For her that's very beautiful. And the husband said, what a lovely thorny arrangement. What a nice arrangement. I still remember this particular episode. What a nice arrangement. How did you do that? And she acted all, it is nothing. I like my house to look beautiful, she said. So the weed killer you apply And then 3 days later or 1 week later, weed is back. So the ignorance killer in the form of the Upanishad, avasadayati, you apply on the mind. Instead of vibhuti, you put Upanishad. And then what happens? The ignorance goes out for coffee and then what? Comes back and says, I have returned. What if it comes back? Therefore, we have the second meaning of the word shad, which means unmulayati. Mula means root. Unmulayati means removes from the root. Which means what? It will not come back. So what is the root of the root of the ignorance? It removes. The root of the wrong knowledge of the self, it removes. So along with the root, my notions about myself, I am a mortal, I am finite, I am no good, I am an idiot, I am impure, I am small, I am because I am not the cause, I am lowly, and all these judgments are caused by not knowing the I. And that ignorance becomes the root cause of these judgments. And because of these judgments, I have desire. Why? Because I want to get rid of these judgments. And the desire is of two kinds, running towards and running away from. Raga and Dvesha. The two kinds of desires. And because of these desires, I fall into becoming an actor. And because of the actions, there are results of action. Because of the results of action, there is what? Rebirth. Yeah, you see, this is called avidya kama karma shrinkhala. Shrinkhala, an unending chain. Avidya, ignorance, then kama, desire, and karma. Only the main links are pointed out. The others I have explained. So this is what is called the hamster wheel cycle of samsara. You keep going round and round and round, even in one life or in the other life. And then everything seems vaguely familiar. There is a lot of deja vus. And there is this feeling, I've been here before. This relationship seems familiar. Same thing happened to me when I studied Mundaka Upanishad. It seemed so familiar. I knew what was coming next. I already knew. I said, how? Then the only explanation is what? Had studied it before. Thank God I didn't remember until I started to study it. Otherwise it would be very depressing, So therefore what? So therefore this whole thing with a kind of a strange deja vu, because Mother Maya has taken care of putting a curtain in between the births. So thankfully we do not know everything. But we know enough to not want to know anymore. This is what it is, And not only that, the rebirth is okay. But then the rebirth, what is the cause of the rebirth? All this whole storehouse of papa and punya waiting to fructify. And once they start unleashing themselves, punya nobody notices. Punya means good karma. Good karma, when it comes, you feel entitled. You take it for granted. About time. About time I got it. This is nothing to write about. This is nothing to talk about. When bad karma comes, what happens? This is a mournful, very sad song comes in the heart. And so therefore what? The root is removed. Along with the leaves, the fruit, everything, the root of this desire and this rebirth, etc. is removed, which is, I don't know who I am. I have come to so many conclusions about the I, but I know not who this I is. So that is the second meaning of the word shad. First meaning is what? It, removes. It destroys. Second, it uproots. Destroys by uprooting. Why does the word Shad have such negative meanings? It destroys, it uproots me, it destroys me. What does it do which is positive, if somebody were to ask? The third meaning perhaps has been given because of to avoid this particular accusation. Brahma gamayati, takes me by the hand and walks me towards Brahman. Oh, that is kind of nice. Now, where is Brahman? Where is Brahman? Huh? The one who is asking is Brahman. Where is Brahman? The one who is looking is Brahman. Looker is Brahman. Asker is Brahman. So what does it mean it takes me to Brahman? How can it take me when I am already there? As though, meaning what? I don't think I am there, correct? I don't know that I am there. I don't, just like the hand in space. This is the hand and here is space, you see that? You don't see that, you know that. And so here is space. And if the hand had a human mind and the hand started to ask some questions, am I closer to space here? Or am I closer to space here? Where am I closest to space? Perhaps here. Then I will have to tell the hand, the space is in your head. Oh hand. Because you are not thinking clearly. Because wherever you are, you are never away from space. So too, O ye Jiva, you are never away from Brahman because you are Brahman. No, but how to get close to Brahman? But I already told you, you are Brahman. Okay, then how to experience Brahman? So therefore what? Brahma gamayati means, gamayati in the sense of, it takes you to Brahman. It takes you in the sense of what? In the sense of, it gives you the knowledge of Brahman as yourself. Knowledge is already there, it removes all the notions. And so, these are the three meanings of the word Shad. So that's just Shad. What else is there in the word? Upa and Ni. These are what are called, upasargas, meaning prefixes. Like the word pre in prefix is a prefix, correct? Yeah. Yeah. So Upa and Ni are prefixes to Shad. Shad, in this form, particularly this form, it's an agent noun. That which removes, that which destroys, and that which takes you to Brahman. Okay? This is Shad. Upa means near. Near? Near what? Such a relative term. In terms of where I sit, computer is near. In terms of Eugene, this house is near. In terms of West Coast, Eugene is near. In terms of the entire North America, you can say the ocean is near. In terms of the ocean, some other continent is near. In terms of the solar system, the earth is, near. Not as near as Mercury, but near to the sun. In terms of the next galaxy, Andromeda, it is the next galaxy which they say is advancing towards the Milky Way at a very fast, in terms of light years, space. And then the two will dance, the dance of Nataraja. The scientists are saying, astronomers. And then each one has a big, bada black hole in the middle. And then they come together and they merge. Oh, that's interesting. How is this merging going to take place? The bigger galaxy, Swaha, the smaller galaxy. Swaha means swallows. Oh, so Milky Way is bigger? Wrong. Other one, Andromeda, is twice as big. Oh, so then the swirling gases in terms of the huge wings of the galaxy, which looks like Lord Nataraja's flying dreadlocks with the world in motion, It is his dance, and so they come, the swirling masses of gases come together until the, what is that, the black hole upon black hole, and then they become one. And the astronomers are asking a very interesting question. In order to watch this beautiful holy show, where should we be seated? I kid you not, I really read this. Should we be close to the black hole, the event horizon? Event horizon means from where there is nothing, what goes in is swaha. You can say, aha, what a show, but it will say swaha. Okay? Yeah. Or if you are somewhere far in the wings, of course these are the swirling wings of hot gases we are talking about. And of course all this is inference. Astronomers have not a clue, where even the solar system is located in the Milky Way, they don't know. So much less where we are going to sit and enjoy the show. So therefore what? So therefore, upa, near what? Near to this show, this grand show that is taking place. Near means near to, whatever is nearest to me. That is the subject matter of the Upanishad, is that which is the near to me, dear to me, nearest. What is that? I alone. And then, nishchayena, definitely. This should ward off the third D, dejection, depression, what else, disenchantment and hopelessness. Because the word Upanishad, the ni in the Upanishad says definitely it will remove self-ignorance. For certain. Nishchagena. By what? By delivering the knowledge of that which is upa. How does it deliver the knowledge of that which is upa? For sure, by removing all the broods of self-ignorance, its kids and grandkids that we talked about. Avidya, kama, karma, this whole mess, it removes. Upanishad. Svetashvatara Upanishad. Harihi Om.
Harihi Om.
Brahmavadino vadanti.
Brahmavadino vadanti.
Kim karanam brahma.
Kim karanam brahma.
Kutasma jataha.
Kutasma jataha.
Jivamaha kena.
Jivamahakena.
Kvacha sampratishthaha.
Kvacha sampratishthaha.
Paఠveda sampratishtitaha. Kvacha sampratishtitaha.
Kvacha sampratishthaha.
Adhishtitaha kena.
Adhishtitaha kena.
Sukhetareshu.
Sukhetareshu.
Vartamahe.
Vartamahe.
Brahmavido vyavastham.
Brahmavido vyavastham.
Yeah. So Brahmavadinaha vadanti. Vadanti means what? Huh? I'm asking your students. Vadanti means what? Vadati, vadataha, vadanti. Right? Vada, to speak. They say. They speak. They say. Right? Now what do they say? Who are these people who say? Actually they don't say because they are asking. So vadanti is upalakshana for prichanti. Prich, to speak. To ask. So vadanti should be translated as not they say, they ask. Yeah. Because they are not saying anything. What are they doing? They are asking. Who are these people? Brahmavadinaha. Brahmavadin. Brahma Veditum Vadatum Cha Vaditum Cha Sheelam Asya Asti Iti Brahmavadin. Means the one who has the capacity to introspect about Brahman, to talk about Brahman, and to know Brahman. Usually Brahmavadin is translated as the ones who speak of Brahman, like a teacher of Brahman. But here the student is referred to as Brahmavadin. So the student cannot be already knowing Brahman, because if the student already knows Brahman, student will not ask the question, all these questions, correct? Yeah. So therefore, Brahmavadinaha means the people who are of an introspective, contemplative disposition, which gives us a clue as to how our disposition should be in order to be interested in the study of this Upanishad. So, these are the people who are probably sitting in the forest. They have either left their house at a young age and are roaming in the forest in search of teachers, or they have been studying for some time, or they are vanaprasthins, meaning they have finished their duties and repaired to the forest for this kind of charcha, discussion, spiritual discussion and activity. Anyhow, we can take them. But these are not just your run-of-the-mill people. These are people like our Sanaka, Sanandana sitting at the feet of Lord Dakshinamurti. They are already Vriddha Shishya Gurur Yuva, it says. Vriddha means they are old souls. Yeah. Old souls means they have been here for many times and they have had that deja vu experience. And from that they have learnt a thing or two. And they have known certain words. Brahman, they know what it is, they may not know, but they know there is such a thing called Brahman. And they know that there is something here to be understood, knowing which I will be free from all pain and sorrow. And this is the one because of which everything is, I know. So these are all things that have come out of life experience A. And second is what is called pocket book Vedanta study. Pocket book Vedanta study means you're sitting at an airport, you just go into the shop and you kind of meander because of Purva Punya to the spiritual section. And there'll be some books, thou art that, or something like that. And then you pick it up and you don't understand much, but you read it anyway. And you get certain ideas that there is a Brahman, that I have to know this, that somehow I am that, and that knowing this will somehow benefit me. Somehow you get this from reading the pocket book Vedanta. And so somehow they know all this. And they know enough to ask the teacher. The students are not named. This is also a common practice in the Upanishad. In the Kena Upanishad, neither the student nor the teacher is named. In the Mundaka Upanishad, both the student and the teacher are named. And the whole parampara is named. You know, Brahmaji, who gave this knowledge to the eldest son. So Atharvaya Jyeshta Putraya Praha, and then Atharva gave it to somebody else. Atharvanetam Pravadeta Brahma. He gave it to someone called Angiras. And then Angiras gave it to Satyavaha, whose last name was Bharadwaj, that is what is saying. And then Bharadwaj gave, first actually it was to Angir, then Satyavaha, then Bharadwaja gave it to Angiras. Angiras then was approached by this person called Shaunaka. So you see the whole trajectory is given. Starts with the creator, starts with Bhagavan and then comes down to Angirasa, who is the teacher of Shaunaka. Elsewhere in some other Upanishads, Shaunaka himself is given the status of being a teacher. So like this we see this. And then in the Chandogya again, who is the student? In the 6th chapter, Shvetu, our Shvetu, how can we forget? Who is the teacher? His father. Does he have a name?
Yes.
What is his name? Uddalaka. Yeah. Uddalaka. Uddalaka Shvetaketu. Correct? And in the Kena Upanishad, goddess Uma is the teacher. The students are laid in the second part. Indra, Agni and Vayu. In fact, Indra is the student because the other two, did not qualify for the teaching. Did not even qualify for her darshan. Haimavati Uma, goddess Uma is the teacher. The Upanishad comes in the form of a resplendent and beautiful woman to teach. And in the Brihadaranyaka Upanishad, in the Maitreyi Brahmana, Maitreyi is the student. Who is the teacher? What is his name? Yajnavalkya and Maitreyi. So like this, names are there. And in the Prashnopanishad, the students are not named. There are 5 questions, that's why it's called Prashnopanishad. The teacher's name is Pippaladaha. And then here, neither the students are named nor the teacher is named. The whole idea is what? It doesn't matter. What we have to understand is that it's a dialogue between the student and the teacher. Who approaches whom?
Student.
Sure? Okay, good. Student approaches the teacher and says, I'm suffering from ignorance, please help. Or I don't know all these questions. I have all these, so many questions are there. Please give me the answers. So here the students address the teacher respectfully. Brahmavidaha, they say. They don't say Brahmavit, Brahmavidaha. Brahmavit, Brahmavidau, Brahmavidaha. So that means what? They say these 3, the plural. Many students are there, Vadanti it was said. So many teachers are there? Many students approach many teachers? No. How many teachers? 1. So then why plural? For respect. Devotion and respect. It is there in many languages also. Like Spanish is there, it's there, the practice is there. To address the person in plural for respect. And so they ask a few questions. These are all very highly evolved people. And then Kim means really you say Karanam Brahma. Is Brahman the cause of everything? Really do you say that? Is Brahman the cause? And if Brahman is indeed the cause, Kutasma Jataha, where did we come from? Meaning, that doesn't follow, right? If Brahman is the cause, then we should have all come from Brahman. But that's not what they are asking. What are they asking? How come if Brahman is the cause, and if Brahman is non-dually one, a whole lot of us have been incarnated, and how come, why come? Why did this happen? Kutasma Jataha. From Jataha means from where were we born? Kutaha, Sma means where indeed we were born from. And then Kvacha Sampratisthitaha. Kvacha Sampratisthitaha means after we go from here, not after the class is over, okay? Going means Prakarshena going, What kind of going? Yeah, leaving the body, going. So after we go from here, where do we end up? Sampratishtha means where is the home? Yeah, Samyak Pratishtha. Where is the home? Where is this established? What happens to this jiva? Here we are. We don't know how we came from Brahman, because Brahman is, last time I checked, Brahman was 1 or 2? 1. So then how many of us here? So many of us. Where did we come from? And then what? Where are we headed? Once this body goes, where do we all go? And then Adhisthitaha Kena. Adhisthitaha means while we are alive, we are controlled by what? These bodies, mind, senses, because the breathing just takes place, correct? Can I will to stop breathing?
For a while.
For a while. But then after I start turning purple, I will quickly take a breath, correct? Yeah. Can I eat something and say, oh donut, because that's what I ate. Oh donut, you will behave like water, meaning you will have 0 calories. All the calories will not go to the body. Do I have control over that? No. So, adhishtitaha kena, under whose watch all these things happen? Who are we ruled by, really? And then what? Adhishtitaha kena, sukhetareshu vartamahe. Sukhetareshu means in pleasure and not so pleasure. Itareshu. They are very polite to say sorrow. In happiness and sorrow, first of all, what decides who is going to be happy and who is not going to be happy, and when and how? So in these alternating cycles of happiness and sorrow, actually, that's just what the poetic way of saying. It's not alternating cycles of happiness and sorrow. Who said that? That's rubbish. It's sorrow, little happy. Sorrow, happy. Sorrow, happy. That is how it is. It's not alternating cycles. If alternating cycles were there, people would be jumping for joy. But here, in Sukha and in the opposite of that, Itareshu, Vartamahe, how do we stay in this? How do we live in this? Oh Brahmavidaha, oh revered teacher, Vyavastham means please tell this whole arrangement. What is this arrangement? Please tell us. And then the question has part B, which we will see next time, next Friday. Om Purnamadah Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashyate.
Om Shanti Shanti Shanti.
Hari Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Hari Om. A quick 2-minute break.